Let's install Fedora 38 Workstation. I've already downloaded the ISO image from the fedoraproject.org website, and I've created a virtual machine within KVM, and I'm going to do the installation here. I have 4 CPUs and 4 gigabytes of memory here. So let's begin the installation now. And I'm not going to test it. I'm just going to start Fedora Workstation live. And so we'll get in there. So this is the live ISO, and so you have a choice now to just mess around with it and test it within the virtual machine, or go directly to installing Fedora. So that is what I want to do, and we'll start the installation. It's a fairly simple installation. We just have to answer a couple of questions. For example, our language and location. I'm going to leave that as English and click Continue. And then we need to select our keyboard, time of date, and the installation destination. So keyboard is English, that's good. Time of date, I'm in New York time, that's fine. Installation destination, we just have to click on it and make sure that the disk that we chose for our virtual machine is there. That's all we really have to do for a VM installation. So we'll click Done. And that's good, and begin installation. And really, it's going to do everything for us right away within this virtual machine. So we'll let that install. Be back in a moment. And that took 7 minutes to complete the installation. Could take shorter or longer depending on your virtual machine or the system you're installing it to. But that's it. We really don't have to do any more configurations, and we'll just click on Finish Installation. When I complete an installation of Fedora in a virtual machine, I'll then go and shut down the virtual machine. So we'll power that off. And I'll go to the details of the virtual machine and check the boot options. I don't want to boot off of the ISO image that I downloaded anymore, and I want to make sure that we're booting off of the actual virtual drive. So that looks good, and we'll go back and restart it now. And now we can boot into regular Fedora Linux. So press Enter for that. And it says, welcome to Fedora Linux 38. So we'll start the setup just by clicking on that. Now you have choices here. I'm going to turn off privacy, location services, and automatic problem reporting. And we'll click next. I don't want any third-party repositories right now, so we'll click next for that. And if you wanted to connect to any of your online accounts, you could do that here. By the way, Nextcloud is awesome. And we'll skip through here. And now it asks for a full name and username. So I'm just going to put in here user1 and use that as my username. Doesn't really matter. Pick whatever username you want. That user account will get administrative privileges to this system. So I'm working as user1 here, and we'll click next. And we have to put in a password and confirm it. Try to make it as strong and complex and lengthy as you can. And we'll go to next. All done. Start using Fedora Linux. It asks if you want to take a tour of GNOME, so feel free to do that. That's the desktop that Fedora uses by default, but I'm going to say no thanks to that. It's so easy to use. And the main key on the keyboard that you really want to know is the super user key, or the Windows key, if you will. Press that and you get to see the dock on the bottom, or the dash, if you will, and you can pick your applications and you can just start typing into the search. So for example, if you want to run the terminal, search that, press enter to bring the terminal up, and then we can use the terminal. So I'm set up as user1 at localhost-live, and we can change that host name also if we wish to here. One of the things that you need to realize is that user1 is an administrator. It has administrative privileges on this system by default. So we can do things. We can do things like a DNF update. And so to do things like this, we need to run the sudo command before these administrative type commands. And I'll type in my password for that, and that'll check the update. That'll take a minute or so to see what needs to be downloaded. And you can see here that we can install 29 packages and upgrade 747 packages. So just because you download the ISO from their website, that doesn't mean you're going to get the latest. And one of the reasons to use Fedora is because it's very cutting edge. It has the latest stuff when it comes to Linux apps. I'm going to say no to this right now because that'll take a while, but it's a good idea for you to update your system with a DNF update update after you get the installation finished. So we'll say no to this for now. And if you need to work as the root account in Fedora, if for some reason your commands don't work with sudo, then you can do a sudo-I, press enter, and that will get you directly into root. Now, the first time you run sudo, it'll ask you for your password like it showed before when I did a DNF update. So if you attempt this and it asks for your password, it's just asking for your main account's password. At this point, if you want to use root, you may want to add a password like this. Run the passwd command and add a password for the root account. But for the most part, in Fedora, the root account is not necessary. But I just added a complex password for root as well. To get back to our regular account, we can do an exit. If you want to change the computer name, a couple ways to do that. Since we're in the terminal here, we could do that with a hostname CTL, and that'll be set-hostname. Or you can go to your settings and go to your settings sprocket. So just click on your drop-down menu on the top right, go to the settings sprocket, and then go down to About, and you can change the name from here. So I'll change this to FedWS just for fun, and check mark that, and we'll have to log out and log back in for these changes to take effect. But again, if you wanted to do that in the terminal, you could do it with hostname space set-hostname, and then whatever hostname you want. And there you go. So that is a little bit of Fedora. And again, if you hit that super key, you can search for whatever apps you want, and you can work with your Firefox browser, your files, and so on and so on. So there's a little bit of Fedora for you. Check it out.